So today we'll be talking about, the video game sales because we haven't talked about these in a while. Okay, this is VG Tots sales, and the best selling. This is March 26, 2022. Okay, these are the worldwide sales for games. Okay, this is every country in the world, and this is of March 2022, and PlayStation 5 is the worst selling console now. Yep, it's the worst selling console. So much for the fastest selling console of all time. So much for, every YouTuber baying the backwards for Sony and Sony console. You have all these, TikTok influencers saying that you should buy a PlayStation 5, but it seems that the most consumer unfriendly console is not selling too well. A company that will willingly censor Japanese games, but won't censor their own games, okay? Because they want to push California's ideology onto the world, okay? Because that's what Sony is now, okay? Sony used to be a very consumer-friendly country that used to, actually, not censor games, that used to actually, not censor everything. And Sony sent, and of course, Japan, where they already have an alternative to Sony. They don't have to buy Xbox consoles in Japan, but they'll just buy Nintendo instead. They don't have to buy, or you can just play on PC instead. Of course, PC is always an option if you don't want to play consoles anymore. But, Sony basically had a monopoly for a while because of how horribly the Wii U sold. But it seems that Nintendo basically is putting Sony into place worldwide. But here's something funny. Xbox is outselling PlayStation and USA. Yep, it has been for a while now. Okay. And you look at the global hardware leaks, okay, and the UK, okay, in the UK Digital Weekly, okay, games are now selling in the UK and the US, PlayStation is doing abysmally, okay. The new game called Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is selling better on the Xbox consoles than the PlayStation. That's all we have to tell you about, Sony now, okay? That nobody gives a crap. And, Sony has all these exclusives. Okay, like Ghostwire Tokyo, it's like probably no one's buying. And, you have all these Sony exclusives, and nobody's buying them because nobody wants to play games on PlayStation anymore, okay? Nobody, people are finally starting to wake up and realize that a company that actively works and censors games is wrong. Okay, look at the Japanese sales. Okay, this is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It's the biggest launch in the Kirby series history in Japan. Okay, the biggest sales in the franchise's history. Okay, and this is compared to other titles. It's compared to Superstar Ultra, Kirby 64, Triple Deluxe, Star Allies, Nightmare on Dreamland. Actually, Star Allies has sold pretty well. Okay, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. Kirby Dreamland 2, Kirby Master Tech, Kirby and the Canvas Curse, and old spin-offs near the bottom. But Kirby and the Forgotten Land sold the most of any Kirby game in Japan's history. Okay. It sold more than Kirby Planet Robobot, sold more than Star Allies, it sold more than Kirby Superstar Ultra. And the original Kirby Superstar as well. Okay. We'll get Final Fantasy. Okay. Okay. Final Fantasy's doing abysmally. Okay. Why? Because it's exclusive to PlayStation. Okay. It's the only games that are doing worse is Chocobo Dungeon on Wii, which is a spin-off. Crystal Chronicles of Crystal Barrels on Wii, and Final Fantasy Fables, Chocobo Tales, and DS. It really shows you that nobody gives a crap about PlayStation anymore, okay? No one gives a shit about PlayStation, okay? I think Final Fantasy 16 is going to be the worst selling, mainline Final Fantasy game. And that will be very, 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 very telling of the Final Fantasy games. So this is of all of the Final Fantasy spin-offs, and this is doing abysmally. Okay, this game is selling abysmally. Okay, and, yeah, Final Fantasy Remake also did abysmally on PlayStation as well. The one that was released on the ps5, and it was one of the worst openings for, Final Fantasy game in history. And, this is abysmal for Sony. Okay, abysmal for Sony. This is gonna probably send a message to Square Enix that, hey, maybe instead of putting it on PlayStation, they support it on Nintendo. Because this is the 10, because if the game, I bet the game was released on Nintendo Switch, it would have done better. Okay? But, you know, you have all these companies that are so worried about graphics. Okay? They're so worried about the graphical output of the games. Okay? To not put it on Switch. Because they're too much of, ballless companies. They don't care. Okay? We have to put it on PlayStation because of the graphics. Okay? Because the companies still act like the graphics matter. Okay? The graphics don't really matter. Okay? The fact that the Switch is still outselling ps5, despite there being a new Final Fantasy game, okay, despite there being new Final Fantasy game, okay, despite there being new games, despite, Sony having the quote-unquote better exclusives, even though there's really no games on the ps5 that are also not on the Xbox. Oh, you can play as Miles Morales now in Spider-Man. Oh yeah, that's the best exclusive of all time. You can play a $78 port of Ghost of Tsushima, a game that released on the PS4, or a $78 port of... No one's buying these games. That's the thing. No one cares. Okay, Sony had no games for holiday because they just delayed all the games. Okay, Horizon Forbidden West finally released and no one bought it. Ghostwire Tokyo and Sifu finally released, but those are smaller games. Okay, and people forgot those games even existed after weeks after the games came out. Okay, Sony has nothing. Okay, Sony has nothing. Okay, Xbox, you have the whole games patch, which means you can play every Xbox 360, not every. Okay, yeah, no one is talking about Sony exclusives. Oh yeah, they released Gran Turismo 7. And everybody hated that game because they have a lot of microtransactions and stuff in that game as well. Okay, they're releasing a new God of War and Final Fantasy because, and you got Square Enix's new policies of trying to appeal towards, Twitter. Not consumers, okay? That's the big problem, okay? As long as PlayStation continues to appease Twitter, the woke Twitter, they're going to continue abysmally selling everywhere, okay? Because that's what PlayStation will be called, the console of Twitter, okay? The console of the Twitter mob. That's what they'll basically called. The woke company of the three big major manufacturers. The Crown Company. The company that will censor games because they're too violent towards women. Like, they censored like an indie game because it was too violent towards women. But, of course, the Xbox version is not censored. The PC version is not censored. I don't know if they released it on the Switch. But the game was not censored everywhere else. But Sony censors, like, all of these games on, the consoles. Okay? And so I was wondering why are we doing so horribly in the UK? Why are we doing so horribly in America, Canada, and Mexico? Okay, why are we doing so horrendously? Okay, that we had, and the funny thing is that they're still selling the old consoles because they can't get people to buy they can't get people to release the new consoles. Okay, basically. You have the Japanese sales, okay? The worst selling Final Fantasy game is nowhere to be seen. Ghostwire Tokyo, no one bought that, basically. Okay, Elden Ring is selling on the PS4, okay, but you can easily just buy it on the PC. Strains of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins, no one's buying that either. And the PS5 version is nowhere to be seen, even though the PS5 is the quote-unquote fastest selling console of all time. What games are people even buying at the PS5 in Japan at this point, okay? No one's buying games in the PS5, okay? No one's buying them. Okay? So what? Sony is not really winning anywhere. Okay? Sony's not winning anywhere. Okay? Sony can't seem to get any consoles to sell. Okay? Sony can't seem to get any consoles to sell. Okay? They are selling somehow 30,000 copies. But I bet it's more scalpers buying the consoles than actual people. Okay? Or people are just buying it, or the 10,000 people are just buying it for Ghostwire Tokyo. But I highly doubt that, people actually, I think that PS5 is going to do far worse than the PS4 in Japan. Okay, the PS4 did like 7 million copies, and those games that sold 1 million plus units. Okay? And, that's basically about this video. Goodbye.